A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant legal ruling, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer has ordered the Trump administration to end the deployment of National Guard troops in Los Angeles, California. The decision comes amid ongoing tensions between state officials and the federal government over the use of military forces in civilian protests. The ruling, which grants a preliminary injunction to California officials, marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing legal battles surrounding President Trump's controversial use of National Guard forces in Democratic-led cities. This deployment, initiated in June 2025, was ostensibly aimed at addressing protests against immigration enforcement operations. However, it was made without the approval of California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been vocal in his opposition to the federal government's actions. Judge Breyer's ruling emphasized the importance of checks and balances within the U.S. government, stating that the president should not have unchecked power to control state troops. He argued that the administration's interpretation of the law, which suggests that once troops are federalized, they can remain under federal control indefinitely, would undermine federalism. The judge expressed concern that this interpretation could lead to a scenario where a president could create a permanent police force using state troops. The ruling comes as the Trump administration has faced a series of legal setbacks regarding its deployment of National Guard troops across the country. These deployments have been criticized as an overreach of executive power, particularly in cities that have seen significant protests against the administration's policies. The initial deployment of over 4,000 troops to Los Angeles has since dwindled to around 100, with the administration seeking to extend federal control over the state's National Guard until February. In his ruling, Judge Breyer pointed out that the government had failed to demonstrate that law enforcement was being impeded, which is a prerequisite for federalizing state troops under existing laws. He stated, "Without a demonstration that the president's ability to execute the law is currently being impeded at the time of deployment, he lacks adequate grounds for federalization." The White House, in response, defended the president's actions, asserting that the deployment was within his lawful authority. Spokeswoman Abigail Jackson stated, "We look forward to ultimate victory on the issue." However, the ruling has been celebrated by California officials as a victory for state sovereignty and democracy. Governor Newsom took to social media to express his satisfaction with the ruling, framing it as a loss for what he termed the rule of the dawn. The ongoing legal battles surrounding the deployment of National Guard troops highlight the broader conflicts between state and federal authorities, particularly in areas where local leaders oppose federal policies. As the ruling is stayed until Monday to allow for an appeal, the situation remains fluid, with potential implications for the future of federal-state relations and the use of military forces in domestic civil matters. This ruling is not just a legal victory for California. It underscores the importance of maintaining the balance of power within the U.S. government and protecting the rights of states to govern their own affairs without undue federal interference. As the nation watches closely, this case could set a precedent for how future administrations engage with state National Guards and the limits of executive power in times of civil unrest. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.